Hello, people. Today I have with us the Ling Cage MU2 Heavy Walker Reload Defense Type. And this guy is an incredible model kit from Dodowo, which is a Chinese company, maybe Xinshi Hobby. It's a little hard to understand exactly where it's coming from, but Dodowo, I think, is the company behind the production of the plastic model kit. This guy is a heavy-duty looking walker. It is a 1/12 scale model kit, which means that it is in line with the Frame Arms Girls series, ATK Girls that I've reviewed, and should be reasonable fit for the 30-Minute Sisters and Megami Device kits as well. So right along that same scale. But if you've noticed, my camera appears to be really close to this thing. It is actually pretty large. It is, I want to say, approximately master grade size, maybe a little bit less. It's pretty big. With that said, let me go ahead and show you some of the features of this kit, some of the things that I've noticed, and what I recommend you would do if you were to build this. And then I will show you the weapons and shield that come with this one. I just wanted to show the articulation first, so I'm going to leave those off. Actually, before I cover the articulation, I'm going to go ahead and put on the screen some of the write-ups that this thing has on it. Alright, the first write-up, which says, Ling Cage, in the near future, human beings are marching toward the galaxy due to overcrowding of Earth, and the search for a new home is imminent. Just as everything was progressing in an orderly manner, the phases of the moon changed, and violent geographical changes erupted on Earth. There were not many people left in this catastrophe. After the day and the Earth gradually returned to calm, people set foot in this familiar yet unfamiliar land again, and from the ruins and abyss. Are we, who are used to dominating everything, still the masters of this world? The next one is the write-up for the MU2 itself. It says this is a dedicated combat vehicle for wild hunters based on rare old-world power armor equipped with energy and offensive-defensive modules. It is a rare combat resource for lighthouses. The conventional weapon is the CW2 heavy three-dimensional gun. The high-capacity ammunition and firepower ensure the effective output of the parabiotic pole devourer. The next one is specific to the MU2 heavy three-dimensional heavy equipment defense. Heavy body number White Shark number 14. Little Lori Erica's upgraded White Shark has become a mobile fortress. Orange reactive armor, retractable explosion-proof shield, and Gatling, which can be attacked and defended. Very suitable for her love to rush to the extreme, the way the beast fights. And lastly, the write-up for Erica, Revenant Warrior Erica, status level Lighthouse Shengmin. Sorry, these translations are a little rocky. Height 158 centimeters. She's the confident genius heavyweight pilot who enjoys combat as a game of life and death. The bright hair color, together with small accessories such as scarves and waist chain, make her a unique presence in the team. Alright, and so now moving on to the articulation. This one is a little bit finicky. I didn't use any cement or glue, and I think there are some points in this one where you're going to want to do that, particularly around some of the more fidgety parts, which I'll point out. Let's start with the head. The head is on a standard ball joint, just plugged into the head. It does rock, rotate, do what you'd like it to do, but it isn't exactly conducive to that with the heavy armor around the neck. So you don't get much out of it. You're going to get a little bit of up, a little bit of down, and a little bit of side to side. But it is nice to know that there is some articulation. The arm is on a peg system here. There is actually a lot to this one. You can move it forward quite a lot inside here. So this system does move forward so she can carry that massive weapon, and it comes out this way so you can move it even further out to the side here, which is a good thing because on this system you don't get a lot of articulation. This heavy duty shoulder pad does block a lot of it. It does rotate out if you need to, so you can get some more out of there. But it is convenient for out of camera angle shots if you need to move that arm a little bit. There is a rotation here inside the upper arm that does slide right out. So it's on a simple peg there. Let me push this back in. There are 2 joints inside the elbow here, but I wouldn't recommend bending them too much because these cables, which are in the back, which add a really cool look to it, will pop out, and you'll need to spend some time with some tweezers to put that back in. But it does move quite nicely, and you get quite a lot of bend out of it. The wrist is just on a peg slid inside the arm here, which does let you have a rotation. You can move that any direction you'd like in terms of rotation. There is a rocker here, so you can move it up, move it down, and then you can also move it this way and that. Not very much, but you know, there's something to it. Each of these fingers are on a ball joint, which was a big pain in the butt to put on because it does stress out some of the plastic in there. And then to put the cover part on was hell. So I will give it some points down for that one, but they are nicely articulated on a ball, so you can move them however you'd like. You know, you can make a fist. I say that, but I'm not able to do it right now. And I actually just kicked off part of the joint system inside the hand there, so we're going to leave that one off for now, and we're going to leave this hand alone. There is some articulation inside the torso here. It is on a ball joint just like the girl kits usually are, so you can move it back and forth. And as you can see, those pistons, those metal pistons, very heavy duty metal parts, move up and down with it, exception this one, which likes to pop off and is covered by this armor plate, so I haven't been able to put it back on within a reasonable amount of time. We're just going to leave it like that for now. But as you can see, it is a really nice effect. Try to keep it pushed down all the way, because if it pops up, those things slide out. And to put 4 of them in is a real pain in the butt. Moving on to the legs, there is a peg system in here that just slides on just like the shoulder actually. So you can rotate that here. The leg actually goes on an articulated peg on the thigh section, so the thigh moves into the upper leg here, and you can have inside like kind of a straddle. And it does rotate as well, but it doesn't do that a lot because of how everything is set up with the heavy armor and the width of the thigh. It's quite wide. But that outside articulation is quite nice. It shows you quite a lot of what you can get out of that one. You know, kind of a different articulation angle than you're used to. The knees are very heavy duty single joints, so you only get the 90 degree, or just a little bit less than 90 degrees actually. But you do have the piston system just like you do on the chest, which looks quite nice, and you have that poly bag kind of thing covering up the joints, which I think looks nice. I can understand it being a pain in the butt, but it does look nice to me. There is no rotation in that area, but it's very nice to see. The feet have a nice movement too. You have similar to the IBO kits, where you have a loop that captures the foot as a total, and then that moves up and down on the pivot point here. They are meant to be plugged into this. These little pistons are meant to be plugged into those, but anytime you move them out of joint, they'll just pop out. But it's nice because they move back in if you're at the right angles. So it's a pretty standard articulation set. Oh yeah, the shoulders do move. They have 2 points of articulation, so you can move them out, up, in, out, exactly how you'd like. This part here actually just came off of it when I was adjusting it, so there's something that happens there too. you will see that a lot of these parts are attached quite loosely. That's because these things aren't exactly meant to be together. They're not precision engineered. There was a lot of flash on these ones. No hole drilling or widening of holes needed, but some of them were a little tight, a little bit misaligned. And you'll see that there's a lot of gaps in these things, which is why I suggested using some cement. It isn't as precise as other companies make things. But with that said, he's a really cool model kit. I'm going to go ahead and load him up with his weapons and shield. I'm going to show you those, and I will be right back. All right. So to be honest with you, this thing was a pain in the butt to put together again. While I had an easy time putting it together the first time, it doesn't seem to want to stay together this time. There are pieces that are, I mean, it's a really heavy shield. It's a really heavy weapon, but the arm is sagging now, so I'm going to have to tighten those joints up on both sides. But that said, doesn't this thing look incredible? Look at the way everything is set together. It's just a big, bulky looking unit. Really cool. I also popped off the piston, the chest, the torso area. And I popped off one of the exhaust pipe systems on the backpack, which I didn't really go over. Kind of a shame, but it's nothing I can't fix. And being as I have to take most of this apart to get to where I need to be to tighten all the joints up, it's not too bad of a loss. That said, I think this thing is amazing. With some paint, I'll show you a picture of what it's supposed to look like right now. With some paint, I think it's going to look incredible. Gridded up, even better. If you weather this thing, it's going to be really cool. I think this one's not much of an action figure, not much of a thing to play with, but once you get it in a pose that you like, you keep it there. So while it does include a bit of articulation, I think once it's in the place that you want it to be, that's just how it's going to go. Not saying that's a bad thing. It is not too expensive, so if you can find one, I think I got it for, what was it, around $40 because it was on sale. But I think they're going for around $50 to $60 if you can find them now. I thought USA Gundam Store still had some in stock, but they are sold out now. But you can find them on the internet. They're not too difficult to find. Just look up Ling Cage. I will put that on the screen. And White Shark. That also comes up. As that is what these are known as. Also, the animation for this one is very interesting. So if you want to see that, there are some clips available on YouTube. I'll put one in the description. I'm going to do a size comparison, so let me scoot this guy over. I can show you some of the features on this shield real fast. This thing, they do actually collapse in on themselves, and you can move the shield, this upper part up a little bit. I'm not going to do that. The lower section actually moves up too, but that is done by parts formation. I'll show you that real fast. If I don't drop it on the floor, which I did. Alright, so the parts formation for that lower section, you pull that other, you actually have to pull quite a bit off to get to that one, and then you put this one on, cover that up. Not terrible in terms of what you have to do, but there are more features like that. Like all the armor bits on the red sections are reactive armor. So what they do is if it's going into battle, you can actually replace them into these parts, and that pushes them out a bit. It's not too much of a difference, so I didn't bother doing it. But it's for all the red bits on the leg, the upper leg, the lower leg. And there are also rollerblades for the bottom of the feet. They are really small feet, so I don't want to do that. Unless you put it on a stand, I would not recommend using the rollerblade section. That is something a little bit crazy for my taste. So let's get a quick size comparison done. let me get this camera. Let's see here. Alright, first off, there is my high-grade Gundam. Y'all know about what size that guy is. It looks pretty funny looking up like that. Let's put him down there. My 30-minute missions. Alto can actually fit behind his shield completely. Pretty cool there. Here you see Frame Arms Jinrai. It's actually capable of holding up behind his shield as well. Pretty crazy. I didn't think it was that big. Alright, and I did mention that these are supposed to contain people, so they are powered armor, and you can see that Architect here will actually fit in pretty well. An even smaller girl might fit in even better than that. There she is hiding. My much smaller Nero down here, hiding underneath that giant shield. And the big daddy of my size comparisons, the Alex Gundam, which, as you can see, is right along with the size and bulk of this big guy. With the exception of the weapons, I think that they actually have parity compared to each other. It's pretty cool. With the exception of the bulk, I think these two have reached parity. With the exception of the bulk, I think these two have reached parity concerning bulk and size. Maybe he's a little bit taller, but I think he's a little bit wider, so it's just about the same. So beyond that, the only other thing I wanted to mention was that there are quite a lot of leftover parts. A lot of the metal, all the metal parts that you see on the main body are actually replaceable by plastic parts if you are so inclined to paint or not use the shiny metal. I could totally understand that. The other thing is there are a lot of stickers. If you are interested in using these for quite a lot of different places. But if you aren't inclined to use stickers, there are also waterslide decals. And a lot of them here as well. For everything that there is a sticker for, there is also a decal. So if you are inclined to paint, you have those options as well. Three, two, one. With all that said, though, I definitely think this one is a cool one. It does look like it needs some paint to get everything up to snuff. That is my personal opinion. I think it is an incredible looking kit right out of the box. It could use some improvements with engineering. But that said, the downfalls of this one are just because of the things that they tried to do with a simpler engineering style. That they really are trying to push the envelope with what they knew how to do. You can tell they tried a little bit too much. They pushed things too far. Their engineering didn't quite handle the weight, the substance of what they are going for. My complaints would be the middle ball joint not bearing enough weight, the arms not bearing enough weight, and the tiny little metal pistons in the front not being able to adapt to the position that they were put in. I don't know if the plastic ones will actually do any better. I don't actually think they will, but it's something that, you know, they could probably improve. I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing around so you can see the back, and I can show you where the exhaust porting came off. Let me go ahead and do that. It's going to be a little iffy, so if it comes apart, well, you know what happens. We're going to leave it be. But let's go ahead and turn him over, because it didn't really go over the back part. Alright, so this is the backpack here. And you can see under here, there's some exhaust ports, a radiator, looks like, and some tubes that go underneath. See that big purple tube down in here? These actually came off on the other side. So you get this port, which is, you know, quite sophisticated for what it is. And this little exhaust looking tube. And those came off on this side. It's not a big loss because you you really can't see it, but it's just something that happened when I was moving things around. With some, I mean, it's an easy fix. Just a little dab of cement would have held that in place. It's not like I messed the whole thing up doing that, but the engineering on, say, a Kotobukiya kit or a Bandai kit would not have done that. So that's where my complaint would be. With that said, I really like this kit. I really like the way it looks. I like all the things they tried. Everything is so different from everything else I've worked on. It's not an easy kit to build. There's a lot of engineering on this thing that just it's just different. So there's something to be said about trying new things. Like I always say, look outside the box and see where you end up. This is a very heavy kit too. So I mean, this is probably a good 5 pounds just right here. Never mind the other plastic that was in the box, the screws. Sprues went all the way to letter V, so it's like, you know, you went A, B, C, and then some of them were duplicated as well. So there are a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in this kit, and it's a really exciting thing to have built something that was that massive and detailed. No, you can see there are a lot of large parts. They did really try to include a lot of the small detail, like you see in the hands, the little joint process that I showed you before. This 3-part process of putting this thing together. They didn't need to do that, but they did. You know, they really did try to come up with something amazing. And for the price, I think that's pretty incredible. The engineering isn't quite up to it yet. So I'm hoping that they come out with something better very soon. But with that said, I think that's it for my review. I will see you guys next time, or you'll see me, but more than likely, you'll see more of my stuff. Bye-bye.